afternoon. I'm Jan Roberts-Breslin, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the School of Communication Speech at Emerson Graduate Hooding Ceremony. Congratulations, graduates. Job well done. I want to welcome the families and friends of our graduates who are here today and those joining us from afar. Your support has been incredibly important to the success of these graduates. We gratefully acknowledge that, and we thank you. Let me also take a moment to recognize our faculty. Emerson faculty are experts in their fields, scholars, clinicians, and professionals who care deeply about the success of their students. They help the members of the class of 2024 reach this milestone by providing an exceptional learning environment, and they have done so with care and compassion. Let's thank them. Earning a master's degree is a major accomplishment that requires effort and sacrifice. As graduates, you know this better than anyone. But graduate school is also a special opportunity to work very hard at something you love. It's a chance to surround yourself with and learn from your faculty, your colleagues, and your mentors. In the coming years, I hope you will look back fondly at your time in this program. Your master's degree has positioned you to succeed in a field that is in need of highly trained, compassionate clinicians, dedicated to improving lives and serving a diverse client base with skill and passion. Today is a day to celebrate all that you have accomplished. Then go out there and make Emerson proud. Congratulations to you all. Thank you. We will begin with the invocation. Please stand as you are able.
Speech at Emerson community, our graduates, families, friends, honored guests. In this moment of invocation, we are called to engage in a practice that is ancient, with deep roots across a great many spiritual traditions, and yet often feels unfamiliar, unexpected, and new. An invocation is, at its core, an invitation into stillness and reverence for that which we consider sacred. And on a day that we have anticipated and waited for so long, and one that is perhaps filled with flurry and busyness and exhaustion and excitement, we take this moment of invocation as a very needed pause to invite, to acknowledge, and to thank all that has given us guidance and inspiration on our journeys leading up to today. As is our tradition at many events at Emerson, we begin first by acknowledging the land upon which we stand. Here in Boston, we are on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Massachusetts people, whose name was appropriated by this Commonwealth. We pay respect to the Massachusetts elders, past and present. So too, in this moment of invocation, we also acknowledge and celebrate the diversity of paths and traditions present in this gathered community. And we celebrate that we find the sacred in so many different ways. For some, this is in the mystery called God. For others, we find the sacred within the wisdom of our ancestors, or in the beauty of nature, in the sparks of creativity, or in the pursuit of justice. However it is that you find sacredness in your life, I invite you to pause with me now and in our shared silence to invite into your mind and into your heart all that you consider sacred. Let us be in silence. Thank you, congratulations, and welcome, each and every one of you, to your well-deserved graduate hooding ceremony. Please be seated.
I will now invite Kim McLaren, Dean of Graduate and Professional Studies at Emerson, to deliver the graduate ceremony address. Kim McLaren is a novelist, essayist, and journalist whose work explores systemic issues in experiential terms, anchoring questions of identity, humanity, and meaning in narratives of family, friends, and self. She is the author of 3 critically acclaimed novels, 6 nonfiction books, including the 2023 collection of essays, Every Day Something Has Tried to Kill Me and Has Failed. Her work has appeared in the New England Review, the Sewanee Review, the Sun Magazine, the Washington Post, and many other publications. She is a former staff writer for the Associated Press and the New York Times, and appears regularly on Basic Black on WGBH. Please welcome Dean McLaren.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Much better, thank you. Y'all have to forgive me, I'm from the South, and that's how we do. And I was just back home, so I'm really feeling very Southern right now. It's nice to see you all. Anyone who has ever been asked to give a graduation or commencement speech knows what I have called the 5 stages of speech giving. Stage 1 is flattery. Me, really? Stage 2 is smugness. I am going to give the most amazing, most inspiring, most awesome speech the world has ever heard. This is followed by stage 3, dawning suspicion. Wait a second, why did they ask me so late? Followed quickly by stage 4, creeping anxiety. What if I have nothing to say? And then blind terror. Oh my God, I have nothing to say. And finally, this is actually 6 stages, finally, in stage 6, acceptance. It's fine. No one really cares. It's not about you. This is the place to get to as quickly as possible for a speaker. The understanding that on this day, a day of beginnings, what you have to say is really the least important part. Last year, at my son's commencement, Tom Hanks was the speaker. Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. Who doesn't love Tom Hanks? I was right there in the audience, not really at the front because I didn't get there early enough, but I was in the audience and I listened very closely to every word he had to say. And a year later, I don't remember a single thing. Maybe it was something about history, or maybe it was about his grandmother, I think. What I do remember is that my son got to get up on stage and get a selfie with Tom Hanks. That's what the day was about. Still, I have to fill up about 20 minutes here, and so for the past couple of weeks, I have been wondering what to say to you on this day. Maybe I should play it safe and talk about something like leadership, about how we hope you will take all that you have learned here and go out into the world and become not only top-notch practitioners and clinicians, but actual leaders in your workplaces and communities. About how we hope this is so even if, or perhaps especially if, you do not think of yourself as a leader. About how sometimes it is those who come hesitantly or reluctantly to leadership who make the best leaders because they have less ambition or perhaps self-aggrandizement to get in the way. Maybe I could toss in some lessons from my own staggered path into leadership for good or for ill. How I now understand in a way I never did before the difference between authority and leadership. Authority is invested from above, a government, a corporation, a board of trustees, an institution. But leadership comes from the ground up. You can be an authority without being a leader, and you can be a leader without being in formal authority. Maybe I could tell you what I already know, or tell you what you already know, that the world is desperately in need of better leaders from top to bottom, from stem to stern, from the corner office to the police force to the school committee, from local government to Washington. Maybe I could say that part of the reason I think so many of our leaders are, let's face it, terrible, is actually us. We will not get better leaders until we become better citizens, better students, better employees, better members of the community. Until we stop expecting leaders to solve all our problems and carry all our feelings. Until we stop treating them as either monsters or gods. Until, frankly, we all grow up and take a little responsibility, not just for ourselves, but for something bigger than us, the common collective good. Until then, maybe we get the leaders we deserve. But I don't know. I'm not certain. I could be wrong. So maybe instead I should play it even safer and talk about the power of narrative. Here at Emerson College, we love to talk about the power of narrative because we think of ourselves as a community of storytellers. And I know the faculty and CD hate that when you say that because you are not storytellers, you are clinicians and scientists. But if you think that narrative does not influence science, I have a story about scientific racism to share with you. Narrative is powerful everywhere that humans exist because narrative creates meaning and the human brain is always searching for meaning. But the job of an educated person, which you are now or you will be when you cross the stage and get your fake diploma cover, is to think carefully, not just about the narratives that you are creating or dispensing, but also about the narratives you have internalized. Narratives about country or society, about mind and spirit, about identity and self. James Baldwin, my hero, described what he called the paradox of education, was that all education takes place within a social framework and is designed to perpetuate the aims of that society, but that becoming truly educated means learning to examine the very society in which you are being educated. He wrote, quote, "The purpose of education, finally, is to create in a person the ability to look at the world for himself, to make his own decisions, to say to himself, this is black or this is white, to decide for himself whether there is a God in heaven or not, to ask questions of the universe, and then to learn to live with those questions." And that's the important part, to learn to live with those questions. This is the way he achieves his own identity. Narratives are powerful because they provide answers, but it's the questions that matter most. And learning to live with those questions, with ambiguity, with complexity, with nuance, that is what it means to be truly educated. But let's set aside the big, difficult narratives and look at a smaller one. Just last month, I spoke when I was back home in the South. I spoke at a women's leadership conference, and afterwards, during the Q&A, a woman raised her hand and asked me, "How do you handle imposter syndrome?" Now, I hadn't said anything about having imposter syndrome. As it happens, I don't have imposter syndrome. As it happens, I don't actually believe in imposter syndrome, just like I don't believe in writer's block. Do I sometimes go long periods of time without writing? Yes. That doesn't mean I have writer's block, it just means I'm not writing. Maybe I have nothing to say. When I have something to say, I will write again. Just because one has moments of insecurity doesn't mean one has imposter syndrome. I actually kind of hate, with a blind hatred, the way this narrative has embedded itself in the hearts of so many people, and particularly, I will say, women. Now, this could be wrong, but I have never in my life heard a man say, "I have imposter syndrome." And yet, in the last month, I've heard at least 5 women say that to me. Listen to me. Be careful which narratives you allow to take root in the tender soil of your heart. What you water will flourish. What you give light and air will surely grow. If you need more skills or experience or knowledge, go get them. But there's no reason in the world for you to believe you have imposter syndrome, to believe that you are not good enough, to believe that you do not belong. In my life, I've had the privilege of entering many elite spaces. I've attended schools with the wealthy and the powerful. I've interviewed them when I worked for the New York Times. I've worked with them on their memoirs. And what I realized early on was that sometimes these people knew more about some things than I did, like calculus or skiing. And a lot of times they knew a lot less than I did about other things, like resilience and compassion and writing and, of course, James Baldwin. And also gardening and child rearing and kindness and love. I've sat on many search committees, including ones for top positions, and seen people aiming themselves with full confidence at positions for which they were not remotely qualified. So why in the world would I hobble myself with imposter syndrome? And why would you? I mean, I think. I'm not certain, though. I could be wrong. So maybe I should throw caution to the wind and talk about something else I've been really struggling with lately, something that's been troubling me that I'll share with you. It's this: our tendency, yours and mine, towards self-righteousness. The Oxford English Dictionary defines self-righteous as being convinced of one's own righteousness or moral superiority, especially in smug, intolerant, or hypocritical ways. Self-righteousness is as old as the rain, of course, but these days it seems to be everywhere, like carbon emissions and plastic waste. Self-righteousness has no age, no gender, no generation, no political affiliation or position on the ideological scale, no single position on the crushing and terrible events of the day. Self-righteousness is an equal opportunity tendency. And I'm struggling with it because, you see, I do believe in righteousness. I believe in protest, in speaking out, in declaring, not in my name, in condemning extremism and violence and the casual disregard for human life by any group or any nation. There is such a thing as power, and such a thing as speaking truth to it. But can these necessary actions, this good trouble, be accomplished without self-righteousness? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that where righteousness leads and inspires, gives breath, self-righteousness tramples and suffocates, stamping out empathy and humility and deep belief and interconnectedness that are necessary for us to address these problems. Going back to the question of leadership, I will confess that dealing with self-righteousness has been the single most challenging thing for me as a somewhat reluctant leader. It's a disheartening trait to discover in one's colleagues, and an even more disheartening trait to discover in one's self. Self-righteousness is exhausting. At the very real risk of being self-righteous about self-righteousness, I wish we would just cut it out. But I don't know. I'm not certain. I could be wrong. You might be wondering why I keep saying those three phrases. I don't know. I'm not certain. I could be wrong. The older I get, the more I've tried to make them a kind of mantra, a thing I say at the start of every day. Remember, Kim, you don't know. You aren't really 100% certain, despite thinking otherwise. You could be wrong. This mantra is a reminder to not get so full of myself that I start to believe that my way of looking at the world is the way instead of a way, one of multitudes. It's also a reminder of the relief to be found in not having to have an opinion about everything. Do we have too many billionaires for the common good? Will AI bring more harm or more benefit to humanity? Is Taylor Swift the greatest musician of her time or vastly overrated? Sure, I have my suspicions, my leanings, my thoughts on these subjects, but push come to shove, that's all they are, my thoughts, formed out of everything I am and everything I've witnessed or read or studied or understood. What they are not is immutable law, like physics, which actually itself, physics laws are not immutable. When Socrates was told that he was the wisest human of all human beings, he rejected the title and set off to find someone wiser than himself. But after visiting many sages of the ancient world, he concluded that, in fact, he was wiser than them all. Why? Although I do not suppose that either of us knows anything really beautiful or good, he said of his latest sage, I am better off than he, for he knows nothing and thinks he knows, whereas I neither know nor think I know. So maybe I should just end by giving you some advice the way commencement speakers usually do. So here's 3 pieces. First, please keep reading. Now that you've graduated, and I know you want to take a break from your studies, but please keep reading. Not just social media posts, but newspapers and magazines. Yes, those still exist. And especially books, which also still exist. James Baldwin said, "You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read." It was books that taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive and who had ever been alive. Reading expands perspective and builds connection and empathy. But none of that will happen if all of your reading is being spoon-fed to you by some algorithm that cares not one whit for perspective or justice or humanity, but only for profit. Number 2, travel as much as you can and for the same reasons you read to keep your insides from hardening. Travel pushes you outside yourself, a place most of us spend way too much time. If you travel, but it only does this if you do it right, with flexibility and curiosity and an open heart. If you travel expecting the world to look like Disneyland, you might as well just stay home and go to Disneyland. 3, cultivate awe. Do you know there are people who actually study awe? I learned this from, guess where? A magazine. The magazine's called The Sun, and it's an excellent magazine. There's a psychologist at UC Berkeley who says a big part of well-being comes from what Jane Goodall calls, quote, being amazed at things outside of yourself. And he defines this as awe, the ability to be amazed by things outside of yourself. This mystery, whether it is God for you or the universe, or being out in the middle of a summer storm and feeling the wind and rain on your face, or standing in a redwood forest and looking up at a 1,000-year-old tree, or looking out at the ocean and seeing nothing but horizon. In these experiences, we let go of our relentless focus on the self, and we open to things outside of us. That's awe. And it turns out this is extraordinarily good for our mental health. And it is a skill that you can cultivate. So learn to cultivate awe. You don't have to go to the ocean or a redwood forest, though I highly recommend you do both. You can do it right on the Boston Common or wherever you live, just by looking up at a red-tailed hawk, for example. Or you can do it by sitting in a quiet corner and reading an essay by James Baldwin and feeling both his otherworldly brilliance and his deep, deep humanity. You can do it in your neighborhood, wherever that is. In my neighborhood, there's an oak tree on the corner that I pass every day on my way to and from work. It's probably 80 or 90 years old, maybe 60 feet tall. It's coming up through the concrete. My husband and I have named this tree Omar the oak tree. And every time I pass Omar, I say hello and run my hands across the rough bark in gratitude for the oxygen he creates and the home for birds and insects he provides and the beauty and the shade and the stillness. And I always, always, always feel awe. And I feel awe right now, looking out at you, class of 2024, and knowing that you head out to meet the very real challenges of the present with all the skills and the talent and all the passion that you require. Some of my colleagues like to say that they like teaching because being around young people keeps them young. I say, really? It makes me feel old and tired. But it's a good tired. It's the tired of a relay runner gritting it out towards the end of her leg, preparing to hand off the baton. I feel awe today because I believe each and every one of you are primed to grab that baton and run like hell towards a better future for all of us together, collectively, as one. That's what I believe, though, of course, I'm not certain. I could be wrong, but I hope you will go out and prove me right. Thank you. We have invited 2 wonderful graduate students to speak to you today. It is now my pleasure to introduce the first speaker, Amanda Breedlove. Amanda Breedlove grew up in the Sunshine State of Florida and loves spending time on the beach. Throughout her program, she has been a strong supporter of new graduates who are considering speech at Emerson. She enjoys sharing her experience with prospective students at the See Yourself at Emerson's panel discussions. Amanda's love for literacy has brought her much joy in writing, and she is excited to finish a children's book series for our small friends with two moms. Outside of academia and writing, Amanda is a passionate community advocate, actively involved in initiatives that uplift and support those around her. She organizes support groups for caregivers and is dedicated to making a positive impact on her community. Please welcome Amanda Breedlove.
Good afternoon, esteemed faculty, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, and families. It is with immense gratitude and humility that I stand before you today. I am honored to be one of two speakers at this momentous occasion. As I reflect on my journey, I am reminded of the power of words and the significance of voice in shaping our identities. From a young age, I've been captivated by the resonance of voices, recognizing them as vibrant canvases adorned with hues of experience and texture. Yet, it was the hurdles that I encountered along the way that truly defined my path. Becoming a parent at 16, I faced the daunting reality of dropping out of high school. But within that struggle, I found a resolve to defy expectations and pursue education as a beacon of hope. Working tirelessly to earn my general education diploma while juggling the responsibilities of parenthood, I embarked on a journey fueled by determination and resilience. The years that followed brought their own set of challenges, including multiple layoffs in the Department of Defense. But it was during these moments of adversity that I discovered the true measure of success lay not in the steadfast loyalty to a profession, but in the pursuit of fulfillment and purpose. My desire to transition into a career of speech-language pathology was guided by a deep-seated passion for helping others find their voice. Inspired by my experiences volunteering in the LGBT+ community, and driven by a desire to contribute to the greater good, I set my sights on Emerson College, Speech at Emerson's program in communication disorders. During my journey as a Speech at Emerson student, I witnessed firsthand the transformative power in the lives of exceptional students, seniors, and patients overcoming their own new realities of life. These individuals, navigating the often challenging terrain of rehabilitation, taught me that resilience knows no bounds. Their courage in the face of adversity serves as a powerful reminder that we have the capacity to inspire hope, foster healing, and illuminate the path forward. As we embark on the next chapter of our lives, let us carry with us the lessons learned from these remarkable individuals and the experience that shaped those memories. This reminds me of many chats I've had with Amanda Warren, reflecting on my experiences as an older student. I'm gonna cry. A new mom. Having my third son on immersion day 1 in August 2022, and envisioning my life as a future clinician. I quote her assuring words, "Let us strive to be beacons of compassion and understanding, lending our voices to those who may feel lost in the silence of their own struggle." As a first-generation grad student, I stand on the steep mountain of a new chapter filled with boundless opportunities. Like a lighthouse, guiding ships through stormy seas, may we serve as beacons of hope and inspiration for those navigating their own path. In the words of Deb Orlovsky, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Changing our lens will indeed change our perspective, allowing us to embrace the diversity of human experience and recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every individual. During our time at Emerson College, we've not only pursued academic excellence, but also forged lifelong friendships. Those friendships, formed through shared experiences and late-night study sessions, are the foundation upon which we stand today. Like relay runners passing the baton, we've relied on each other for support, encouragement, and understanding. As we step into our future careers as speech-language pathologists, we carry with us the lessons learned from these friendships, the importance of empathy, collaboration, and unwavering support. Just as we've leaned on each other during our times as students, so too will we lean on our colleagues in the field, working together to uplift and empower those in need. It is through the bonds of friendship that we will continue to make a difference in the lives of others, one conversation at a time. To my fellow graduates, I extend my heartfelt congratulations on this remarkable achievement. To our families, our spouses, children, and friends, thank you for your endless support and patience during this wonderful journey. May we continue to strive for excellence, embodying the spirit of resilience and compassion that defines our collective journey. Thank you once again for the privilege of addressing you today. As we celebrate this milestone together, let us embark on the next chapter of our lives with courage, conviction, and an unwavering commitment to make a difference in the world. Congratulations, class of 2024.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our second student speaker, Olami George. Olami Florence George is a child of Nigerian immigrants who came to the United States to give her and her siblings opportunities for success, growth, and a future. She attended and graduated from the University of Houston, where she had the honor of being part of a therapy abroad trip to Belize with a group of her peers and professors. There, Olami learned about diverse approaches to teaching and implementing methodologies used to educate clients and their community. Her experience as an undergraduate, and now as a master's candidate, has opened her eyes to the profession, what client values mean, and how to advocate for herself and the adults and children she will serve. Please welcome Olami George.
Good afternoon, distinguished staff, students, and family members. I will be reading to you an article from Dr. Margaret Lehan Blake from the article Perspectives on Treatment for Communication Deficits Associated with Right Hemisphere Brain Damage. Her quote says, "Evidence-based practice is client values, culture, and clinical judgment. The inclusion of client values in the content and structure of treatment is important to facility, client interest, and participation in therapy. Since April 2021, when we all and myself began our Emerson journey, evidence-based practice has been the topic of discussion in all of our courses and lectures. Our facilitators taught us that to gain an understanding of the client values and culture, we needed to build rapport. Their words stayed at the front of my mind when I undertook a placement in a school setting. I asked the teacher when it was a good time to observe a child who might qualify for services so that I could start to build rapport with him. Our connection began with him staring at me, wondering why I was in his space, but proceeded to me asking him about his weekend, and from there to me engaging with him about his favorite toys and books to read with his parents. This was also a great time to bring out my phone and record our conversation for a language sample. Then there was the time I was in a pediatric clinic, and I had to build rapport with a young girl's parents who wondered where her daughter's SLP was. I explained that I was a student, that my supervisor, the SLP she was seeking, was fully supervising and overseeing my interactions with her daughter. Then I engaged with the parent about her daughter's progress in therapy session. By the end of our conversation, she was happy to hear about all the progress, and her daughter became a regular with me and my supervisor. I also worked to build rapport with adults who have aphasia or Parkinson's disease, engaging their challenges with memory while they're driving or swallowing their food. These moments of building rapport with clients built my clinical skills, showed me how to create a culturally sensitive environment, and gave insight into the client, their values, and their culture. Thank you, Emerson, for giving me the foundation of speech-language pathology and teaching me how to apply this important skill to my clinical practice, family, friends, and community. These experiences have inspired me to change my perspective on the low percentage of Black clinicians in the field, only 4.8%. I now view this statistic as a challenge, as a call to make a difference, regardless of feeling unwelcomed and unwanted. I aspire to advocate for my clients whose voices are not being heard, or who are heard but mistreated, and who are looking for ways to communicate their wants and needs to their family. I aspire to provide education to my clients, their parents, their spouses, and in their community to ensure they have the best quality of life, regardless of what that would look like for them. And now to my fellow graduates. We did it, y'all. We have overcome the EBB papers, comps, group projects and presentations, long hours at our placements, Castle Branch, and the MBSIMP. We are about to close this chapter of our lives and embark on a new journey, a journey that will allow us to continue developing our clinical skills, advocating for ourselves and our clients, thinking outside of our own biases, and using our clinical judgments to provide strategies and practices that will meet our clients and their families' needs. My aspiration for you all is to remind yourselves of the challenges you overcame, to never doubt your skills, to have a mental day or a week for yourselves, to someday step outside to get some sun and leave your work at work. We must take care of ourselves first before we can take care of our clients. I believe we are going to do great things that hold worth and value in our profession and our lives. I congratulate you all for overcoming the hurdles and challenges of graduate school. We are finished and moving onward to the future. Thank you.
It is my honor to present the Joanne P. Lasker Graduate Program Director Award, which is named for our inaugural Graduate Program Director. This award honors a graduating student who has demonstrated exceptional academic and clinical achievement, as well as good citizenship, curiosity, and collaborative skills throughout their time in the program. From within each graduating cohort, our facilitators and faculty vote on the student who embodies the values of the Speech at Emerson program, the CSD department, and Emerson College, both in the classroom and in their community. This semester's recipient is one of our 5-term track students. Their work has been described as exceptional in both academic and clinical settings. Facilitators describe this student as consistent, thoughtful, and eager to learn. They particularly appreciate how this student incorporates ideas of multilingualism and cultural diversity throughout their work. Today, it is my pleasure to present the Joanne P. Lasker Graduate Program Director Award to Nareda Reyes. In many of her semester reflections, Nareda wrote about how important it is to be mindful of language preferences and culture. After debriefing families in Spanish after sessions, she noted how differently families engaged with the treatment process. Her growth mindset is also evident in her reflections. She described leaving the first day of her clinical placement feeling overwhelmed and tearful, which is something we know many students can relate to. Over time, she described how her clinical skills improved and how she became better able to think on her feet in difficult situations. As Nareda wrote, "We are not always going to have positive experiences, but that does not define the kind of clinician we are." For your attention to equity, reflective practice, and your commitment to making a difference in the lives of so many individuals, I am very pleased to present you with the Joanne P. Lasker Graduate Program Director Award.
And now, for the moment you have all been waiting for, will all of the master's degree candidates please rise? Provost Roberts Breslin, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Communication at Emerson College, I have the honor of presenting to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Science who have successfully completed all requirements.
Thank you, Dean McLaren. Graduates, please come forward to receive your hood.
Syria Ayala Ibarra. Allison Acart. Janae Nicole Barner. Jessica Barrientos. Hannah Alice Bassett. Sunny Ellen Beavers. Gerlin Bernard. Amanda Nicole Breedlove. Aaron Burke. Victoria Bird. Bielka Castillo. Brooke Chillag. Jessica Vu Dang. Brittany Shanae Davis Nelson. Julia Donahue. Lindsay Bostick Durst Flanagan. Myra Falcon Pineda. Gabriela Figueroa. Taylor Morgan Files. Jody Tamron Finlinson. Angie Garcia. Erica Lynn Gendron. Olayemi Florence George. Anna Maylie Glidden. Elena Nicole Gorzinski. Amy Kristen Goyette. Olivia Hardick. Myra May Hayali Yi. Delaney Lynn Holmes. Alicia McKeever Kafin. Michelle Kratzert. Jaiya Lee. Jacqueline Alexandria Magner. Rachel Marie Marinelli. Sierra Rose McCafferty. Emily Grace McPherson. Sarah Louise Menold. Victoria Mostavoy. Jennifer Eileen Norris. Carolyn O'Rourke. Jason Justin Perez. Rhonda Peters. Amanda Potvin. Gabriela Maria Puentes. Angelique Rangel. Hillary Rose Ranges. Nareda Reyes. Leonela Salavarilla. Johanna Alejandra Schlisser. Claudia Jenny Solano. Helena May Spadaccini. Hannah Elizabeth Spears. Angela Melissa Stanley. Julie Renee Storr. Gwyneth Jean Teradash. Nikidra Nicole Thomas. Wedley Thompson. Marissa Victoria Tomeo. Emily Trejo. Macio Maria Valdez. Laura Ann Victory. Angelica Natalia Villanueva Torres. Julianne Walworth. Amanda Will. Brooke Eliza Williams. Excuse me. Elizabeth Snow Zambruski. Congratulations to all the graduates.
May I ask the audience to rise for the benediction and to remain standing for the closing and recessional. Thank you. Graduates, as you will go from this place, blessing the world with your work and words and beings, we now take this moment to confer our blessings upon you. May you always trust in wisdom, for it is a sacred compass within you. May you always treat yourself with gentleness, for you are worthy of compassion and care. And may you always know that you, your presence and your work and your being has already been a gift to many communities, and we here at Emerson are now honored to count you amongst our alumni. Now go forth with our pride in you, with our belief in you, and with our hopes that you will bless others as you have blessed us. Congratulations, and go in peace.
Thank you for joining us today to celebrate this momentous occasion. Congratulations again to the Emerson College Class of 2024 Speech at Emerson graduates. This marks the conclusion of our ceremony. Please allow the speakers and our graduates to exit first.